myself Shivaji Kale. I extend you a warm welcome on the behalf of the Unique Academy in today's session related to Indian society and social issues with respect to our GS paper 1 in mains part of our syllabus. Now you all people might be aware about our examination pattern, which covers 3 stages: prelims, mains and interview, in which mains is a stage where we have to write 4 general studies paper. Now this general studies paper, including general studies paper 1, has 3 components. Now these 3 components are history, geography and society. Now society is a short form that we will keep on using in our today's discussion. But if you see, you can talk about, in a larger sense, the topic is Indian society and social issues. Now we have to think why this particular area and why this particular thing has been introduced to us by the commission in our examination. Now whenever you are going to be operating as an officer at a national level or at a state level, you need to know the society. The way you need to know the polity of the country, you need to know the history of the country, you need to know the geography of the country. But at the same time, when you are working in the society, you have to know the society also, and primarily the issues that are affecting the society. And that's why this part was introduced by UPSC in 2013. Now, those who know that before 2013 there was little different type of pattern and syllabus. New pattern and new syllabus was introduced, including this part and also some other parts of syllabus like ethics was introduced and other things. But we are today more interested into the topic of Indian society and social issues. Now when we are talking about it, and I was mentioning that there is a paper called a GS paper 1 which has 3 parts: history, geography and we have society. Now if you see these 3 parts, in which 2 parts, that is this our history part and geography part, are also there in our prelims syllabus. But now when we talk about this society part, this is not explicitly mentioned in the prelims syllabus, and that's why we have to focus on this part of society, that is Indian society and social issues, from the mains perspective largely. Now how much it is important from the mains examination, this is very important to know, because as we discussed that other parts like history and geography, they are also there for prelims and also for the mains. But the commission is trying to balance the portion of society and the weightage of society in the recent mains examinations that has been conducted. For an example, in the last year's examination that we have seen, that is 2023 mains ka examination that we have seen, they have asked 100 marks questions out of 250 marks, 100 marks questions out of 250 marks on this particular area. Now you can try to understand 3 different parts in syllabus, but one part, that is society part, has little more weightage with respect to the marks that is allocated. Around 40% marks are allocated to one subject, remaining 60% marks are allocated to 2 subjects. And that's why this part is very important for us, all of us, to study to get a very good scores in the examination. Now those who who have also analyzed the marks that students has got in 2023. Now particularly we are talking about those who are candidates who have given the mains in 2023. Some of them have qualified for the finalists, some of them have not qualified. But all those who have given the mains in 2023, if we have seen, there is a trend that people are scoring less marks in GS paper 1. Try to understand. In 2023 mains, people have scored lower marks in GS paper 1 as compared to the earlier mains, 2022, 2021. Now this trend was also experienced about GS3 from last couple of years. But why it is happening with GS paper 1? This is also a very important thing for all of us to understand. Now, I believe that it is because of students' lack of preparation in society part of syllabus. Now, why does it happen? Because this is one of the easiest part of syllabus for understanding. If you want to study it, understand it, there is no difficulty in doing it, because you and me been a part of this society for a very long period of time, 20, 30 years, depending on the age that you are having. But for at least, let's say 15 to 20 years that you are part of this society, you know little bit about this society. But when you look at the syllabus, you feel that yes, this is a very, very familiar part of the syllabus and I can do it in a very, very easy way. Nothing wrong in it. But when you go and do the previous year, but when you go back and try to do the previous year's question paper analysis, you will find out that when you read the questions, they seem to be very easy to read and understand. But when you will try to write an answer, they will be quite difficult. Now, why I am saying so, and why in this regard we need to focus on GS paper 1 society part of the syllabus, which is a very, very scoring subject, but if you have given a due diligence and due focus, due weightage to that particular subject, and that's why we have to understand. But before going into that all details, first we need to understand what is the syllabus of this particular subject. What does it all comprise of, right? Now, if you look at the board here, you will find out they have mentioned 10 points here, isn't it? Please take some time to read through all these particular 10 points that we have mentioned. Now see, as I was mentioning, when you go through the syllabus, very much like the previous year's question paper, you will find out nothing difficult here. Like, what is the salient feature of Indian society? Now, you all people might be knowing that we are a society which is primarily a patriarchal society, right? We are a society where caste system, which is a very unique feature of Indian society as compared to any other society in the world. Or we are a society which have a lot of diversity, but at the same time, we also have a unity in this diversity, and not, let's say, diversification is not resulting into any type of balkanization of country. Why this is a feature of Indian society? And you can take few more features as and when we will go into the detailed lectures of this series. We will go into the each feature and few more features in a very detailed manner. But today in introduction, we can see that there are certain features of Indian society that UPSC has mentioned us to study. Now, if you look at the previous year's question paper, you will find out this is an area where UPSC is asking a lot of questions, because this is an open-ended topic. Because they have not mentioned what salient features you have to study. They have simply mentioned salient features. So, anything that is maybe happening in the current affairs related to society, they might frame a question around it to ask you in this part of syllabus, right? Then come back to the board where they have mentioned the second point. Here they are specifically focusing on women and women organization, primarily women. Now, because as we were mentioning the patriarchal nature of the society, it has impacted one of the section of society, male, female, female as a section of society, woman as a section of society, for a very long period of time. And that has resulted into different type of burdens or denial of access to the woman at a societal level. It has impacted their role also in society. So what is today's condition? How women organizations are responsible for maybe upliftment of a woman? These are the different aspects that we have to understand here. Now, if you look at some other points like population, poverty, urbanization, you will find out these points are related to some of the other parts in your syllabus also, but they are mentioned in Indian society, right? Now, why they are doing it? For example, population topic. Now, some people might be saying that this is a geography topic, demography topic. But see, they are not focusing on population only. They are focusing on this part of aspect. associated issues. So how the maybe increase in population, because we are focusing on Indian society, we have to talk about increasing population or a big size of population, because that will be the feature of India's demographic profile. So how this increase in population or a huge population is resulting into issues at a societal level. Maybe increasing old age population over the period of time, maybe let's 20-30 years down the line, or maybe because of the skewed sex ratio that India has, less women, more men. Is it creating any social problem? Yes, it is creating a lot of social issues which has to be handled at a policy level by the bureaucracy in the future period of time, and that's why they want to make you study this into syllabus. Look at poverty also. Yes, a lot of people will say this is very closely connected to economics. Yes, but see, poverty is not only an economic concept, it is also a social concept. Now we can simply connect it to, if you have read the concept called as multi-dimensional poverty index. Have you heard about it? Multi-dimensional poverty index. Now why they are talking poverty as a multi-dimensional concept? Because we can understand that poverty is something more than economics. Now what is that more than economics? We'll go into that depth in our lectures, but here we can say that it is largely connected with developmental issues which are socially connected, and that's why they have made it a society part of syllabus. Now very similar to that, urbanizations. Yes, obviously urbanization is a process which is very closely connected to industrialization in a contemporary time, but is it resulting into certain problems? Can we find out some solutions or remedies for that? That will be an area of interest we want to study. Related to that, globalization is a phenomena that has impacted a lot of dimensions of human life, including social dimension, economic dimensions, and cultural dimensions, and a lot of other dimensions. Now, how it is impacting Indian society per se, this is very interesting area to study. And if you see, UPSC has also very interested into this area, and that's why you'll find out lot of previous year questions paper, you will find out lot of previous year's questions on this particular topic. Now, there are some other things also. For an example, communalism, regionalism, secularism. Now, a lot of isms are here. Now, you might be aware about a basic argument that ism is ideology. As a thumb rule, we can remember it. Whenever there is a ism added to a word, it is generally connoting that something related to ideology they are talking about. For an example, ideology of a community. Ideology of a community is communalism. So people developing a argument, philosophy or ideology on the basis of that community. Now that community could be religion, that community could be a language group, that community could be a caste group, ethnic group. Largely in Indian case we will talk about religious group, ideology based on that, communalism. Now how it is impacting Indian society? Very important areas to study. Again, why? Because we are a very, very diverse country. So we have a lot of different social groups who identify themselves as a community. When it goes beyond a certain point, it becomes a social issue, and that is why we have to study it. Okay? Now, regionalism, again, because as we see, India is not only administratively divided to form, let's say, a federal units for easy administration purpose in the form of states. It is also culturally differentiated. And that's why, if you take any example, let's take an example of Maharashtra. So if you look at Maharashtra, within Maharashtra also, there will be a lot of different cultural identities Maharashtrian people carries. For an example, people beyond Western Ghat, People beyond Western Ghat, they will call themselves Konkani. On the other side people, they will be referred by different name like Western Maharashtra people. Or if you go to the northern side of it, they will be called as Khandeshi people. If you go to the on the eastern side of Maharashtra, the part will be called as Vidarbha people. The central part will be called as Marathwada people. So even if we call a particular region according to administrative purpose, we can see there is a huge regional identities that are also influencing human behavior. That will certainly create sometime social type of identities, social type of collective actions, resulting into lot of issues which we will study under regionalism. Now we will come to the last point, that is secularism. Now this point, secularism, again will be connected to your GS paper 2 polity part of syllabus, where you will study it, but there you will study it from the polity point of view. Here our objective will be to study it from the social point of view. Why the secularism as a concept has originated in different parts of the world. Primarily we will talk about how it has developed in the West, starting from France. And then we will come back how it was also developed in India. We will also try to understand it was there in the earlier period of time, maybe ancient period of time. How it is there in the contemporary period of time, let's say in the modern period of time. We will also try to see how Indian model of secularism is different than Western model of secularism, or there are any similarities there. Now this will be the different type of arguments we will try to develop in this part of syllabus. Again, lot of previous year questions we will find out on this part. But when you will go through the syllabus, you will find out one important thing, that UPSC has generally stick to the syllabus. If you go through the previous year question paper, you will find out in one or other part of the syllabus, you can connect to the previous year question paper. Now here we will also try to connect it to our other discussion, and that discussion is this interdisciplinary nature of the subject. So if you remember, we have already discussed certain aspects of this when we were discussing the syllabus. For an example, when we are talking about, let's say, a topic called as population, we were talking that even if it is mentioned in GS paper 1 Indian society part, it is also mentioned in GS paper 1 geography. So when you will prepare GS paper 1 population and associated issues part, you are also preparing a geography part of your syllabus, right? When you are preparing a poverty wala part of syllabus, you are also preparing economics part of syllabus, which is also there in GS paper 3, right? When we talked about secularism ka topic, you can simply say it is highly connected to GS paper 2 in your polity part, right? Again, you will have an advantage when you will be trying to study Indian society to understand the ethical arguments in a better way. Why? Because see, ethics tries to teach you what is the right thing to do. In a given scenario, you have certain options available in front of you. You can choose one option as your action. What is the right action that you will choose? It has been a part of discussion in ethics. Now, these things, what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, which is obviously an area of discussion of ethics, but it is highly influenced by social context. Try to understand. In any particular society, what is right and wrong is influenced by the social value system of that particular society. Obviously, it changes with respect to society, it changes with respect to the time that society is a part of. And that's why understanding social context through the study of society will be helpful for you to study GS paper 4. Now if you go and try to understand it further, you will be very surprised to know that this is not only the area where UPSC has given you an advantage if you study, let's say, Indian society part. If you are a student of optional subjects like sociology, then it will be a lot of helpful area in paper 2 of sociology, because lot of syllabal points are directly connected to paper 2 of sociology, or you can try to understand it from other point of view also. If you are a sociology optional student, Indian society in GS paper 1 will be a very easy area for you to prepare. In other optional subjects, this will be also useful, but that we will be keeping a discussion at some other point of time, right? Now, when we are discussing this interdisciplinary nature of the study, we can also try to understand what is the weightage that this particular part in our examination is carrying. Now, you all must be knowing now that our mains examination is of 1750 marks, right? Isn't it? If you look at it, our main examination is of 1750 marks, right? Out of it, GS has been given a weightage of 1000 marks, right? So each GS paper, 4 GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 250 each. Total is 1000 marks. We are interested into this GS paper 1, right? Now this GS paper 1, if we see, which is having 250 marks ka weightage, has been divided into 3 syllabus. We have already talked about it. That is history, geography and society. But how much is the weightage? So in the beginning I have said that in the 2023 mains they have given a weightage of 100 marks to it. But we can take a study from last 10-12 years that UPSC is conducting this examination. From 2013 to 2022, and let's say at 2023 here, we have found that there is an increasing weightage to this part. And you take last 2 years for our observation, we have seen that there is a 100 marks weightage here, and there is a 75 marks weightage in 2022. Now how these are divided? We'll take one case study. For an example, let's talk about this. So there are 10 marker questions in your GS part, and some are 15 marker questions in your GS part. So in this particular examination, they had given 3 10 markers and 3 15 markers in your question paper. Now they have increased it by few more questions in the 2023 mains, and that is what we can see. Looking at the trend, this is going to remain a very important part of your syllabus. Now, because you are preparing for a competitive examination, try to understand every mark counts. And we are talking about 100 marks here. It can make or break your attempt. It can decide whether you are qualifying the mains or not. Or when you qualify the mains, did your interview will result into a final result, that are you going to get selected? If you get selected, what is the rank that you are going to get? This is how it could be. Let's say about this 100 marks, may say these 100 marks are going to decide a lot of aspects. Now you have to decide how you want to prepare this particular subject, but for that particular purpose, we'll do one exercise here, a kind of a case study to understand what are the different type of questions that they are asking, right? Now just look at the board here. and you will try to understand that these questions that I have given to you, these questions are questions from 2020 question paper. UPSC's 2022 ka question paper is here. From that question paper, I have tried to give you 6 questions. So I will give you a minute to observe this particular question paper and the questions and try to remember what are the different syllabus points that they have mentioned, right? And take a couple of minutes to try to identify which syllabus point is being a central theme of the questions in this question paper, right? So I'll give you a couple of minutes. Now all of you must have gone through the syllabus point, the 10 points that were there, and the 6 questions that are here. Now because these are 6 UPSC 2022 mains question paper GS paper 1, these questions are, we'll do the exercise, right? Now you try to find out whatever analysis you have done, is it right or how much closer you have got, right? Look at the question number 1. They are specifically focusing on caste, isn't it? Again, focus on multicultural Indian society. Now try to remember the argument we were making. What was the argument that we were making? We are making that India is a diverse country. Is it a diversity ka issue? Yes. At the same time, I have also talked about caste as a feature of Indian society. Right? So can I say that this is an area they have framed a question upon? Isn't it? Try to focus on second question. They're talking about COVID pandemic, etc., etc. But focus on the theme. Isn't it? Now try to remember, have I talked about poverty as an issue? Right. So it is not only an economic issue, it creates class inequalities. Now inequality is a social reality in India. Now because this is 2022 and COVID-19 was a very recent phenomena, they are trying to bring current affairs and society ka syllabus, they are trying to club it together to form a question. Right? This is going to be a very interesting area of discussion. Whenever you are preparing Indian society, you need to know the dynamics of society. Now how to study that? They are to be studied through current affairs. So here onward, whenever you want to prepare Indian society part, yes, believe me, current affairs is going to be very, very integral part of your studies. You have to read newspapers, the important articles that are covering editorials and other parts of the newspaper. Those who are discussing the social issues, you have to read them, you have to understand them, you have to connect it back to the syllabus, you have to make notes out of it, so that whenever in examination such type of dynamic questions will be there. And yes, there will be dynamic questions. You have to bring that analysis into your answer, right? Now let's focus on third question. What do you find out here? See, regionalism. Isn't it? Focus on other questions. Question number 4. Pluralism and diversity with respect to globalization, right? Now, I will not say this is a question related to diversity as a feature of Indian society. I will say this is a question related to globalization. They are connecting it to other part. Now, this will bring another type of dynamism into your question paper. It is making multiple topics in one question. They are clubbing up couple of topics in one question to try to see how you can correlate the knowledge that you know with each other. Can you analyze whatever you know? That is what they want to understand it from here. Look at question number 5. Now sometimes whenever student try to read these type of questions, they simply do not understand the words only. Now this is also I want to highlight to you people that whatever type of education or medium of schooling you might have, but UPSC demands that you need to have a certain level of understanding of English. So if you do not understand these words in question paper, it will be very difficult to understand the meaning of the question that UPSC is trying to ask, to assert what type of demand it is keeping, and then it will be difficult to write the pinpointed answer. And that's why you need to know the exact meanings of the word. But again, the question is on customs and traditions and other things, right? Coming back to the sixth question. Now look at this particular question. Now when you look at this, some of the people will say, now this is a question related to government schemes. Shall it be connected to GS paper 2 polity part where government schemes are largely focused upon? Yes, you can connect it to. But again, the point is that they have given it in GS paper 1. Now in GS paper 1, other part of the syllabus are history and geography. And that's why neither this is a history question nor this is a geography question. So only choice remains that this is a society question. Now why it is important to know? Because if you know that this is a society question, you will try to write a society related analysis of that question. And you will not try to write the polity related analysis. This is very important. In any question paper, you have to understand what is the demand, right? Now here we understood that they are trying to understand whatever are the initial digital initiatives that are there, how it is functioning in education system in India. So they are saying digital initiatives, let's connect it to basic argument of technology. Can technology bring a social change, or it is accessible, it is affordable, it is available? Will it impacted by the social condition? Yes, it is impacted by social condition. How come? Try to understand. Though the government is bringing digital initiatives, can a person without the digital literacy, a person who do not know how to operate a smart device, like a computer, like a tablet, like a mobile phone, smart mobile phone, can that person take a use, can that person make a use of that digital initiative? Hardly. Take a second example. Digital initiatives are there. But when we talk about smart devices which make them accessible, affordability will also become an issue. Because consider a country where its certain section of the population lives below poverty line. Till today, about 1/4 of the population is living below poverty line. Can they afford smart devices and digital education? A big question mark. Third point, suppose some of them, other remaining 75% matches, other let's say 25% who can afford it, but can they afford it for every member of society, every member of their family? Consider a family of 4 people, mother, father, boy and girl child. 4 people in the family, but they have only one smart device in the family, let's say mobile phone. Father is using it, but digital initiatives are there in the education system, and the girl child as well as boy child wants to make use of that smart device. How much time each member of the family will be given to use this smart device? Try to correlate it. Now father and then the son and then the girl child and then the mother, they will be using it in a, let's say, hierarchical order. Why? Gender plays an important role. Age plays an important role here. Now these are all socially influenced issues on the digital initiatives of educational system in India. So it's not only about developing an infrastructure or a technology, it's about also the social conditions. Are they conducive to these technological changes, or they are barriers to these social changes, technological changes? That is what we need to try to find out. But what we can do, that as we have done the analysis of 2022 का question paper. I will suggest you all people to let's take a 2023 का question paper and do the analysis of the questions that are there in the examination. And when you will do that questions, and if you have any doubts, you can come and contact me and we can have a discussion about that issue also. About the resources which you can use to study this part of syllabus. Now we can divide the sources into two types of sources. First type of sources that I will suggest is a basic content that you need to develop. Now what is basic content? It is primarily given in your NCERT's books. Right? Now which NCERT book? If you look at here, you'll find out I have given an image of 4 NCERT books here. Right? Now what are these? So 6 standard NCERT books in which you can go and read Unit 1 which is related to diversity. Right? You can go and read the 8th standard NCERT book where you can read the Unit 4 which is related to social justice and marginalized sections, as well as you can read Unit 5. Now other part of that NCERT is not directly related to social issues, but you can read it for other part of your syllabus. But then more important are 12th standard NCERT book. The name of the book is only Indian Society, so it will be easy for you to understand. Now it contains 7 chapters. Now these 7 chapters are very important, and also focus on the glossary that is given. The glossary gives a very precise and exact meaning of the terms that are there. Very much useful in writing in answers, including the introduction and the content that you write in the other part of your answer. Now after that you have to also come back and try to read the another 12th standard book that is given, that is Social Change and Development in India. This is a book where a lot of dynamic aspects of Indian society are covered. Right? Now what are they? How that change and development in the rural society is happening, how the changes are happening in industrial society, how globalization is impacting social change in India. Now we have already seen that there are topics related to that. After covering this, if you want to go, you can read Ram Ahuja ka book, but I will suggest first you have to read the NCERTs and then only you shall go for that. Now this is the first part of your sources that I will be suggesting. The second part is this. Now what is this? I will be simply saying current affairs. Newspapers will be the primary sources which covers a lot of social issues, including a lot of newspaper articles will be supportive into that. You can take the note down, you can take notes out of that. At the same time, you can go for certain magazines also, but I will not suggest you shall be focusing on too much technical magazines like EPW, which is not necessary for GS part of your syllabus. But if you are, let's say, a sociology optional student or political science optional student, then it might be helpful. But I will suggest newspaper articles and your GS current affairs note will be more than sufficient. But this you have to study. I will suggest that you shall make your own notes also, handwritten notes, so that it will be easy for you to revise during your mains examination time period. And if you find any difficulty in finding these sources, you can come to our Telegram channel also. We have a Telegram channel. The name of Telegram channel is very easy, Shivaji Kale Sociology and Social Issues. So my name Shivaji Kale, subject name Sociology, because it's an optional subject I teach. At the same time GS Social Issues. So if you search Shivaji Kale Social Issues, Shivaji Kale Sociology and Social Issues on Telegram channel, you will find it where I have already uploaded this particular image copy. So you can go and try to find out in a very detailed manner which topics I have mentioned. And if you have any doubt, you can contact us for the detailed matter. So this is all from our side with respect to Indian society part in GS paper 1. Thank you. Take care.